So I'm single and I'm just trying to be like aware of men in the world. Okay? And do single men like go anywhere without a chaperone? Like I'm actually starting to panic. Like where are they? Like where are they? I feel like anytime I see a man vaguely my age, like a woman appears, a child appears, that is a father. Where are the single men? Where are they? Do they not go to the grocery store? I've like never seen a man at Target. How do you eat? Like you can't exclusively go to sports games with the bros. Where are you? Like I know I'm at a deficit because I go to like Broadway shows and tap dancing lessons and I work from home. But like I exist in public. I go out for drinks. I go to coffee shops. I go to the mall. I go to the store. Where are they? Where are they going? Where are they? Do they go anywhere? Like, do men only go places if their girlfriend made them? If they have a child to feed? Help.
Why do you think introverted men stay single?
Introverted men stay single because they don't leave the house. And they don't like to leave the house. And when they do leave the house, they're so used to being by themselves that whenever they're in like a social situation, they tend to overthink too much. They get a lot of social anxiety. And so then you talk to them and you're like, oh my God, like, has this person spoken to anybody in like weeks? A lot of introverted guys can be very attractive, but they just need to get out of the house a little bit more. And if they don't want to get out of the house, that's something that they've got to figure out. Okay, what is it? What's the barriers that are preventing me from being social with people, from actually walking up and talking to somebody? Okay. Let's remove those barriers. Let's make it an environment where we actually want to talk to another person, because sometimes introverted guys they never have the inclination to leave the house because nothing excites them. Let's figure out ways that we can do that, where we can meet people in an environment that you actually enjoy. Most guys pick the wrong environments to go to. They think they need to go to like a loud ass club, but you don't have to go to those places to meet a woman. There are plenty of other places you can go to. Yeah, there's tons of reason, but I'd say not leaving the house and overthinking way too much when they actually do talk to somebody.
Welcome to Manosphere Daily, the only channel where we say what every man's thinking but nobody's allowed to say out loud. This isn't about hate, it's about truth. Hit that like button, subscribe, and join the movement.
I'm going to talk about this comment that was left on one of my videos, and there's quite a few men that leave similar comments to this, and this proclamation that, you know, this is why men are staying single. And this is obviously not all men, but there is a reason why men do this. And the reason that men say I'm staying single, which in other terms basically means I'm also willing to have a string of hookups that mean nothing to get my own needs satisfied, is that the reason that they do this is because they are not willing to face themselves. Any man that says, you know, I'm staying single, is because they do not want to be in a situation that is causing them to face parts of themselves that have been denied, that have been repressed, where they are not taking accountability for the way that they show up in relationships. And obviously, if they're not in relationship or opening themselves up to the right person, they're not going to have this mirroring. And so by isolating and saying, you know, this is why men are staying single, it's just basically another way of saying, I don't want to face myself. Because unfortunately in Western society and sort of in the modern world, men are becoming apathetic, they're becoming more feminized. And when wounded feminine energy shows up in men, it causes them to lack accountability, to not want to take responsibility, to be flighty, to not commit to things, which is automatically a massive turn off to women that are in a healed feminine energy. And so the sorts of women that they would actually, you know, thrive in relationship with, they're not attracting anyway, because they're not opening themselves up to the possibility that actually they're the ones that are responsible for the type of women that they're actually pulling in the first place. And so it becomes this vicious cycle. But when men say, you know, that they're staying single as an act of, you know, trying to control their circumstances, the reality is underneath that, they're feeling very much out of control. And because they don't have a language for communicating, you know, what's going on underneath, because no man that is in a healed masculine energy is going to make this proclamation and decide that he's going to be single for the rest of his life. Because when you look at the way that obviously masculine energy thrives in life, it is to build, it's to continuously have something to move towards, to build some sort of legacy for self, and to feel as if they're creating a foundation, you know, and building something. And so when you're saying, you know, I'm cutting off my own growth, which is obviously what comes from being in a relationship anyway, they're automatically showcasing they're not actually in their masculine. Because to get to the end of your life and basically look back and say, you know, I worked a job that was okay, that paid the bills, sat on my own money so I didn't have to pay anything, you know, for women, and, you know, got to the end of my life with a string of hookups. You look back at that as a legacy for a male, and the level of regret that would come with that is not going to feel good. So if a man makes this proclamation, then this is what he really means. And emotional fulfillment in life comes from the depth of intimacy we have with our partners, with the people that are closest to us. And when we cut ourselves off from that and the possibility of exploring that, we don't live an emotionally fulfilling life. We live a life that's filled with surface level distractions, surface level projections that don't actually lean into anything of depth. And so when a man says this, he's likely very much in his feminine, in an apathetic energy where he doesn't want to commit to things. And so within a relationship, he's not going to take accountability. This is obviously very different for a man that chooses to stay single until the right person comes along and works on himself in the meantime. This is an attribute of a healthy masculine male, and a man that's able to concentrate and focus his energy in such a way that's actually going to be really supportive and conducive once the right partner shows up, or once he's ready to take that step with the right partner. And this is the sort of dynamic and mentality that actually breeds and calls in soul connection as well, because the man is anchored into his masculine energy as opposed to dismissing the concept of relationship altogether, which is naturally a byproduct of being very wounded. And soul connection in and of itself can only come in when you are truly connected to yourself, whether you're male or female. So if you don't have a deep understanding of, you know, your own psyche, the way that you operate, of your own triggers, where you're not taking accountability and reconciling that internally, you're not actually in a position to attract in what would be like a deep soul connection anyway. So all of these things are interconnected. They all play into one another. But the difference is that when you are connected to self, you see the mirroring and the divinity in others. When you are not connected to yourself, you see through the eyes of separation, of somebody else wanting to take from you, as opposed to being with an open and generous heart that actually allows you to feel the fullness of what a relationship can actually bring for you.
I'm making this video because I came to the realization that I am just way too good of a woman for men in my generation. And the reason I'm saying it is because a lot of men in my generation don't believe in love. They don't believe in romance. They don't believe in marriage. They don't believe in God. And that's all important to me. And I'm not having kids until I'm married. So how it's looking right now, I honestly feel like I won't ever have kids. Because these men will lie to you, betray you. And I really don't trust nobody, and it's so sad that I feel like I can't trust nobody. It's because every relationship that I have been in, trust has been broken. So it's hard.
More and more men are deliberately choosing to stay single. And it's driving modern women insane. Because for years, the message was loud and clear. Men need women. Men can't live without us. But now, the tables have turned. Men aren't chasing. They're not begging. They're not playing the prove your worth game anymore. They're choosing peace over pressure, freedom over drama, and purpose over pleasing others. And that shift has women shook.
This is why successful men stay single. Successful men became successful because they're logical, rational, and linear. They take decisive and direct action. But when you do that with women, it's boring and uninteresting. It's an entirely different game. And so the skill sets you know to navigate and be successful in the real world are not the same skill sets you need to learn and adopt and control when it comes to women and dating. You have to unlearn and take on a new approach and a new perspective on the paradigm of dating when it comes to women. If you want me to help you get there, click the link in bio.
So why are you single?
Because I don't want a girlfriend.
I feel like you got your heart broken one time.
Heartbroken?
Bro, I did too. I feel like you got your heart broken one time, and that just really fucked you up.
I wouldn't say I had my heart broken. I started to understand women a little bit more as I got, well, early on I understood that, like, she's not mine. Even if she may be my girlfriend, she might be influenced by other people.
No, KD, you're selling yourself short of the greatest energy in this world, that is love.
So
I mean, he's right, but
I
bro,
don't trip on that relationship. If we having a good time for a moment, then cool. If you end up venturing off, and I do too, it is what it is.
But don't you know anybody that's been like married for like decades?
Yeah. I know some people that are married for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but you're focusing too much on those people.
Focusing on everything.
When you go onto the court, do you manifest that you're the best on the court? Do you believe it? Like, do you truly believe that you're the best out there?
I just do my job.
You're not giving me anything here.
I really do, man.
Because I believe if you believe that love was out there for you, you'd find it. You're a great guy. You're the nicest guy in the NBA.
I'm not. See, you think I really actually made that list. I did.
Because he shared it. And that it was believed.
I did not share that, though.
So they are so self-conscious about everything they do and say with the opposite sex that they're no longer approaching girls. They're not asking girls out. And I don't know. I guess they're just hiding in their rooms on their PS5s, becoming incels. So don't worry about the digital. Go analog. Look her in the eye. Ask her out. If she says no, that's okay. It wasn't meant to be. And my dad always said, you're never going to dance with the prom queen unless you tap her on the shoulder. So go tap someone's shoulder and then tap that ass.
See, men used to believe that happiness came from finding the one. The fairy tale, the marriage, the white picket fence. But reality hit. Divorce courts, false accusations, emotional games, and a system that punishes men for even trying. So they adapted. They started focusing on themselves, building businesses, hitting the gym, traveling, stacking money, and realizing something powerful. Peace, it's different when nobody's draining it. Now, women are looking around wondering, where did all the good men go? The truth? They didn't disappear. They just stopped volunteering to be disrespected.
50% of men in 2023 were single and not looking for any type of relationship or any type of interaction with women. And when they were surveyed, most of them admitted to just completely giving up on dating and relationships in general. We live in a time where we have social media, we have all of these different dating apps, we have this abundance of platforms and different ways that we can meet new people, yet there's more people that are single and admitting to be lonely than ever before. There was a study done by Morgan Stanley. I got this from a Chris Williamson podcast, and it says in 2040, 45% of women aged between the ages of 25 and 40 will be single and childless. Those stats are pretty alarming, and you have to ask the question, how did we get here?
This is a question for the men. If you're not a man, keep scrolling. Okay, so men, why are we hating women? Why are we hating women? I feel like women are hating men and men are now hating women. They don't want to get married. They don't want to live with them. They, they just want to be single forever. Like, what's going on here? Are all you men into men now? Like, what's going on? I'm so confused. I feel like we're creating a divide here, folks. Can we come back together? I love men. And I want men to start loving women again. Like, I don't know. What do we need to do? Let me know, and I can try to get the congregation together, and we could try to move forward so we can all start loving each other again. I don't know. What am I missing? Can you please fill me in? I'm very, 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 very confused. Okay, thank you.
None of it was real. It was all an illusion.
And the reaction has been wild. Everywhere you look, podcasts, TikToks, talk shows, women are panicking. Men are emotionally unavailable. Men are scared of commitment. No, men aren't scared. They're smart. They've seen what happens when they give everything and still get blamed. When loyalty is met with betrayal. When effort is called bare minimum. And instead of arguing, they just left the table. That's not fear. That's self-respect.
Why do intelligent men stay single? Well, it's not because they're boring. It's not because you're not attractive. It's not because it's actually what you want. You simply have the ability to think well because your brain works really good, so you get stuck in your head. And if you get stuck in your head, you won't take the actions necessary. You might see somebody that you want to go and talk to in a Starbucks. She looks really attractive. But instead of actually introducing yourself, you'll think about doing it and you won't do it. Or on dating apps, you get stuck in your head and then the texting conversations fizzle out because you're just not that great at it. What you have to understand is if you're a man who considers himself intelligent, you absolutely can find a quality relationship if you shift into action instead of overthinking. Now, you do need to do the right thing. And trust me, I'm really not telling you just go and talk to her. It's not that easy because I know there's approach anxiety, there's nervousness. And you can overcome that in a variety of different ways. The first one is progressive desensitization. So you have to progressively desensitize yourself to the threatening stimulus called rejection. If I were to ask you to walk by a restaurant right now, there's 4 really attractive women sitting there, and I want you to go and ask one for a number. Little pro tip, you never ask for the number off the open. That's called a premature escalation. It doesn't work. You eliminate 95% of options. You actually do have to talk to her for 7 minutes, 3 minutes before you go for the close, if you will.
The truth is, modern dating feels like a job interview. Men have to impress, entertain, pay, protect, and still risk being ghosted for the next option. It's not worth it anymore. Men today have access to everything that used to require a relationship. Companionship, social circles, comfort, even emotional support, without the manipulation or chaos. So now, women are facing the silence they once told men to deal with. And guess what? They don't like it.
But if I were to try to do that right now, you'd probably come up with some excuse. And by the way, I'm at a business conference here in Florida right now, and there's a lot of guys who are really crushing it. Most guys here couldn't do it either. Most men, if they're not drunk or on some sort of substance, they can't do it either. And I used to not be able to do it either. I remember being in a club. You don't have to go to bars or clubs to find the right girlfriend or wife. But I remember 7, 8, 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I was with a friend of mine in a club in Berlin, and he's dancing with a girl, having a good time. There was a girl that I wanted to go and speak to, and I actually couldn't. I was frozen. I was physically frozen. I couldn't do it. You know this invisible wall called fear? And you come up with all sorts of excuses, and you talk yourself out of it, and then the more you think about it, the more frozen you get. So it's not as simple as just saying, just go and do the approach. It doesn't work. You progressively desensitize yourself. How do you do it? 2 ways. By gradually increasing the directness of the approach and by increasing the level of physical attractiveness. Let me ask you something. There is something called subjectivity when it comes to looks. Looks are partially subjective, but they're also partially objective. Did you watch Lord of the Rings? Gollum? Imagine there was somebody that you wanted to go and speak to, and she really wasn't physically attractive. She looked like she just lost the precious. How nervous would you be? Probably not that nervous. Now imagine the most attractive woman you could ever imagine. How nervous would you be then? Probably a lot more nervous. There is a scale. You can go so low in attractiveness, subjectively for you, because it's different for everybody.
This new wave of men isn't bitter. They're aware. They've watched their fathers, brothers, and friends get destroyed, trying to be good men in a system that no longer values it. And now, they've simply opted out. They're not anti-women. They're anti-nonsense. They still believe in love, just not at the expense of self-respect. That's why they're single by choice, not by failure.
And then talk to that person. And a standard opener could be, excuse me 2 seconds, you're really cute, I had to come and say hi. Now, that may already be difficult. You could just ask in an indirect way. Say, excuse me, how do I get to Starbucks? By the way, nice compliment, and then you walk away. I have a video on my YouTube channel where I explain how to overcome your fear of rejection or approach anxiety in detail. You can go and check that out. Type my name into YouTube. Much more long-form content there. But that is the gist of it. And then you go step by step by step, and then you can always learn it, because we as human beings, we exist in 3 zones. The comfort zone, the zone of growth, and the zone of overwhelm. If you do the things you already know how to do, you feel comfortable. If I ask you to do something like this, talk to somebody who's maybe like a 3 out of 10 in your book, you'll probably be able to do it. If I were to ask you to talk to an 8.5 out of 10, you probably freak out. Especially if I ask you to tell her, hey, you're really cute, I like your hair. Boom. You wouldn't be able to do that. And then imagine your verbal game. You'd be off, you wouldn't come across confident, you would suck at it. I used to as well. It's just a skill thing. But if you go step by step, then you won't get overwhelmed. And you have to understand, dating is a hugely emotional process. It is something that confronts us with our deepest fear, which is not to be loved. Now, obviously, getting rejected by a woman says nothing about your desirability as a man whatsoever. Zero. Absolutely nothing. But If we haven't gotten enough rejections, it hurts. And then we think, oh, nobody is ever going to want to be with me. How am I going to figure this out? You take it personal. It is not personal. I've gotten rejected more times than you ever made love to yourself. Let me tell you that. So use progressive desensitization. Put yourself out there. Start taking more action. And by the way, you could theoretically just find a relationship through dating apps. If you build a really good profile on Hinge or Bumble, and you learn how to text, you can get a quality. Most of my clients find somebody just through dating apps, but I highly encourage the in-person component as well. Not just because you're going to find your wife maybe from an in-person approach during the day in whatever daytime scenario, but because of the character growth you'll get. Whatever you resist the most, that is where your growth lies.
Why are all the girlies in the same boat right now? From my last post about where are the girls finding boyfriends nowadays, can we debrief how literally every single girl had the same comment? They're like, I don't know, I'm trying, no luck, blah, 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 blah. Like, why are we all in the same boat? Why are 50% of the comments saying Facebook dating? Are people really using Facebook dating? No thanks, not for me. And then just recently, the video started gaining attraction from the men, and they're like, yeah, we can't find girls either. We were told don't talk to the girls, so you have to come up to us first. Like, huh? And I think I should clarify that it's not that I can't find a man. We can't find men, because we can. They're everywhere. It's just we can't find the right men. The right men that we are looking for, that we have preference in. So maybe I should rephrase my question into, where are all the good men who have potential at? Where do I find them?
So I'm out having dinner with my girl, and I want y'all to just notice something. There's women, all eating there. They're everywhere. Oh my God. I am seeing something, a trend. Girls are all going out with their girlfriends. There's not like one.
So when you hear women saying, men don't approach anymore, men are emotionally unavailable, just remember, men are still out there. They're just not signing up for chaos anymore. Because peace isn't loneliness. It's luxury. This is Manosphere Daily, where truth cuts deeper than comfort. If you're one of those men who chose peace over pressure, hit like, subscribe, and comment my peace, her drama. Because the strongest move a man can make in 2025 is walking away on his own terms.
So this is actually insane. I posted a video yesterday talking about how like nobody wants to commit in my city to a relationship. Suddenly everyone in the comments is sounding off that all the cities are like this. I'm sorry, what the hell do you mean? Like, you're telling us nobody's safe. It's actually insane to me that there is a pandemic of men who do not want to commit, and it's like almost women are the ones chasing down commitment, chasing down a ring. I'm sorry, what happened to family values? Why are men struggling so much these days? I just want to understand what went wrong and why relationships aren't like the driving factor of life. Like, you're getting successful, you're making more money, but what is it all for? Like, why be successful? Why have all of this if you're not like aiming for something bigger and like trying to expand your lineage and find companionship? Like, I'm so confused why we're not on the same page with men. My friends and I make literal jokes all the time that we need to move to a different country, maybe to the States, to find our husband, but the comments are giving no. Seems like nowhere is freaking safe. I don't know, something's gotta change, because it seems like both sides are unhappy and we're not finding solutions, because what the hell is going on?
So you know what I noticed? Men in this generation don't want girlfriends and wives. They want baby mamas and situationships. Like, they don't want real commitment anymore. They don't want to connect with a woman on a deeper, more emotional level. No, they just want somebody they can do it with without the commitment. They want access to you and your body without the commitments. That way, when they messing with other girls, they could turn around and say, oh, but we not married. We not in a relationship. Why you tripping? And then it doesn't make sense to me, because men would say marriage is too much of a commitment, but having a baby's not. Getting 3 different women pregnant is not.
Today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.